Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Today we're going to talk about, in my opinion, in I think the majority of players' opinions, the best starting champion in the game, but not just best starting champion. We're talking about just the only starting champion, in my opinion, who is truly end game viable. When I say end game, I mean a character, a champion who you can run in level 20 dungeons, in Nightmare Clan Boss, in Gold Tier, Arena, and have it not be kind of a burden on your team. Sure, you can get by. I can sub in Galek or Aethel or Elaine in any of my endgame teams and still survive and win, but they just don't add as much utility as a champion like Kael does, in my opinion. So in today's video, you guys will see that I actually have a naked Kael here, ready to go, because there's two ways you can actually build Kael, and I do have already a Kael guide out there. It's months and months old, but I never really talked about specifically the two ways you want to build Kael. One for campaign farming and for arena, and maybe for some mid-level to early level dungeons, and then the other one for end game dungeons, specifically for Dragon's Lair 20 and for Clan Boss. So two different builds, one character. I'm gonna go ahead and try not to use like my highest tier gear on my account. We'll pick like rare gear if I can find some, just whatever. Maybe I'll level them up to level 12 just to give you guys a realistic kind of expectations on what you can expect from Kael in the end game on both of these builds. So I'm gonna go ahead, and the masteries, by the way, will also change, so you can see I reset my masteries. We'll talk about both builds, and be right back when I have the first one. Let's go ahead and start with nuking. Alright guys, so we have our nuking Kael all built and ready to go here. Really happy with this build, and again, I tried to not level up all the gear, tried not to use any of the best gear on my account or anything crazy like that. I'll talk you through the artifacts, but quickly, I want to go ahead and cover the masteries. We'll cover both builds' masteries right now because there's only a couple subtle changes that I would recommend for you guys. So let's start with on offense. We're going to go offense and support on both of our Kael builds. So on the offensive tree, for Clan Boss, you just want to go straight down the left-hand side and end with War Master. However, on a nuking comp, I like going with Helm Smasher, but of course the choice is really yours. You could still go with War Master, you could go with Helm Smasher, or you could go with the extra crit damage on Flawless Execution. Again, myself, I like having the 50% chance of ignoring 25% of the target's defense, especially for the arena. So that's what I'd prefer to go with. So what I do is just come right down the left-hand side, increases damage inflicted by 6% when attacking targets with higher max HP, which is going to be the case oftentimes with Kael. Go down to Methodical, and then go ahead and take a turn for Helm Smasher. Again, really up to you guys in terms of where you want to land there. Of course, if you do want to go with Flawless Execution, you do have to kind of work your way over to the right with Wrath of Slain, Blood Shield, and then move over to Flawless. But however, I like going down the left-hand side and then just coming in for Helm Smasher, excuse me. Now, support tree, I would advise no matter how you build your Kael, and we'll talk about kind of a hybrid build in between these two builds. It doesn't have to be just nuke or just sustainability and poison, but just kind of showing you the extremes in today's videos. So Arcane Celerity, one of my favorite abilities, is great for the arena. It's really great for pretty much anywhere. A 30% chance of increasing, the turn meter by 10% when the debuff cast by this champion is removed or expired. I actually meant, it's still a great ability, but I meant the Evil Eye ability is decrease the target's turn meter when this champion hits them for the first time with their default skill. So what I like to do is just go ahead and come down both of these right-hand columns. So go with Lore of Steel, getting that extra set bonus if you have basic sets on your Kael, and then just ending with Evil Eye and Sniper. So Sniper increases the chance of placing any debuff from skill or artifact by 5%, and then last but not least, the Master Hexter, 30% chance to extend the duration of any debuff cast by this champion. Will help with his poisons. That's going to help you. The support tree is going to help you more for sustainability and for poison Kael build, but either way, I would still go support as opposed to the defensive tree, no matter how you're building your Kael. Really, the only thing that's changing here is if you want to build him for an arena nuker campaign farmer, I would go Helm Smasher. Otherwise, you just basically want to go War Master, talking about dragons, talking about any other dungeon that you're using him in, as well as Clan Boss. So let's go ahead and move me out of the way and show you the gear that I put on my Kael here. So in terms of artifacts, guys, one thing to note on Kael, on Acid Rain, first of all, why is Kael so good? Well, he's, again, Great poison, great nukage, great base stats for a rare champion. And on this Acid Rain ability, it's the #2 damage multiplier inside the game for rare champions on Acid Rain. I believe it's a 4.65 damage multiplier. That's second only to, I believe, Crumbling Blast by War Maiden. But either way, the cool thing about Acid Rain is it does fill the turn meter of this champion by 25% for each enemy killed. The beautiful thing about that is for campaign farming. If you're killing 4 enemies, you're filling his turn meter back again, and then Acid Rain is only on a 2 turns. Oh, it's only 2 turns away again, right? So it has a nice kind of synergy, which makes him viable as a campaign farmer. Certainly not one of the fastest in the game, but definitely, you know, doable, right, for a Kael. So the cool thing also, though, is the extra 15% chance of inflicting a critical hit is going to allow you to build him with, you know, 85%, and then on a nuke build with an 85% crit rate. And I built him a little bit higher here. You can see 95%, so I could probably afford to lose a little bit of that crit rate because it's really about the Acid Rain ability. Now let's take a look at the stats in terms of how I built my Kael. The first thing you'll notice is my accuracy is very low at 111. If you're building him for just a nuker, you don't need an accuracy banner on Kael. I think a mistake a lot of people make is if you're using Kael, this is kind of applies to maybe more a niche, because I think most people who have Kael just use him everywhere, right? Most people who rely on Kael use him everywhere in the game. However, with that said, it does deserve a mention here that some people get too caught up in, okay, Kael needs accuracy, put accuracy on him, even if I'm only using him in the arena or in my campaign farmer. You don't really need to be landing those poisons necessarily. Sure, it helps, but I'd rather go with an attack banner if I'm just using him as a nuker, okay? Again, personal choice, personal preference, but that's how I decide to do it. I want to maximize that attack from the banner, and that does help because his attack, is a little low at 33-38. It's certainly not those 5k god tier attacks that you see on some nuking champions in the game, but for me, it's more about the crit damage, right? I want to get the crit damage as high as possible, and again, with pretty mid-tier gear, kind of mid to a little bit above average gear, 244 crit damage is incredibly helpful. I'd rather have 250 crit damage than 170 crit damage in a 4k attack, okay? I'd rather have higher crit damage on my nukers. So that's how I have him built out. Speed, his base speed is really good at 103 on Kael, so take advantage of that and build him to be pretty fast, right? Even if he's your arena nuker, you need him to, usually 9 times out of 10, you still want to be putting him in speed boots rather than attack boots, because you can't have the enemies going before him. The only exception to that rule would be if you have a sleep champion or a stun champion or enough turn meter boosters on your team to ensure that Kael's going to be going next or going to be going before the enemy team in your nuking composition. If that's the case, then you can consider the idea of putting attack percentage boots on him. I went with speed boots with crit rate, and again, the thing on Kael is you have the luxury of going crit damage on your gauntlets. If you're building out your Kael to be a nuker, I think that you should be trying, the first priority should be trying to put crit damage on him on his gauntlets, and then getting crit rate from your other gear. You can see in terms of sets here, you don't have to have 3 sets, but if you do, attack, speed, crit rate, crit damage, all great for nuker Kael. Obviously, Cruel and Savage, the more advanced gear sets are great too, Divine crit rate, stuff like that. We'll talk about defensive Kael, Poisoner Kael, but accuracy and more defense and life sets are better in that, or speed sets as well, are better in kind of that regard. So for me, I'm looking for crit rate. Again, level 12 weapon here. It is a 6-star, I apologize guys, but leveled it up to level 12, just wanted to make sure I got a couple rolls. I got attack percentage as well. That's great for Kael. So attack percentage, speed, and crit rate and crit damage. Great stats to look for on substats on your Kael. Crit rate, again, 2 rolls on his helmet. Perfect, right? Exactly what we're looking for. I stopped at level 8 on the shield because this is all I need. He's a nuker. I don't expect for him to be taking heavy damage, okay? So I don't need the defense of a max shield on my Kael. I'm not really worried about defense, HP at all. Resistance, like those stats, not super worried about it because if I get into the situation with my nuking Kael in campaign and arena where he's taking a ton of damage, it probably means I've already lost the battle, okay? So I'll take it. Don't get me wrong. I'm still looking for those stats where I can get them, but they're not a priority. Crit damage gauntlets, I did max out because this should be your first priority, is maxing out his gauntlets and his chest and his boots. The middle, like we always say here on the channel, kind of the middle row of gear should be your first priority. So that's what I went with. Attack based on the chest and speed on the boots. And then on the jewelry, I went with attack again on the ring, crit damage on the amulet. I could probably max this out as well. This would be a really important piece of gear to max out as well. I'd probably prioritize this as my next upgrade. And then we have his attack banner. As I said, I got nice rolls on this as well. Just took it to level 12, but when I can get the extra 255 attack from the banner, I'd take it over accuracy if, again, just for the arena here. So let's go ahead and just use him in the arena, and then we'll switch builds, and I'll show you him some dungeons and in Clan Boss. So, Arena Kael. Kael's just with that a multiplier, the fact that you can use him as an S tier nuker and an S tier, a nuker and a poisoner. That's what makes him so good, you know? Just incredibly versatile champion. I'm sure a lot of you guys out there use Kael and really rely on him in a lot of different ways. You can use him, I'll talk a little bit about, as we set this match up, I'll talk a little bit about other areas to use Kael. You can use him in spiders up until kind of, I would say the mid game, probably up. You can use him to farm 6-star accessories from Spider. I think that's level 13. Maybe get away to level like 15, 16, 17-ish in like a nuking Kael build. You should build him as a nuker for Spider. After that, he kind of phases out of Spider. So here we go, guys. We set the table here nicely. We have decreased defense on all these champions. Let's see what kind of damage the Acid Rain in the build that we have him can do here to this team. Oops. Did I not click Acid Rain? Did I use the A1? What an idiot. What an idiot. Let's get his next turn. Let's get his next turn. Let's see if we lose. I could have sworn I picked Acid Rain. Oh, man. All right, let's go ahead. I don't want to kill anybody. I just want to reduce turn meter. I want Kael to kill everybody. Oh, God, dude. That was embarrassing. All right. Don't kill her. Don't kill her, Arbiter. All right, Kael is next up, maybe? No. Who can we hit? We'll hit Kaimar. All right. Okay. How did the Acid Rain, did he have fear or something? Here we go. So again, 50 to 70k damage. Let's go ahead and do one more here. That was kind of weird, huh? I missed what happened there. I don't know. All right, so another pretty formidable team here. Granted, I do have a couple legendaries on my team too, so could probably pick a better team. To be fair, I would have like War Maiden as a free to play friendly debuffer instead of Ceres. I would have a kind of some sort of a CC in here for Molly Tankard. So maybe a turn meter booster is fine too, like an apothecary on this team. So this team could easily be like apothecary, War Maiden. As a matter of fact, for the next battle, I'll go ahead and just make a more free-to-play friendly team. So there we kill one. We killed Mashaled there on the first attack by Kael. He sustained an attack from Miscreated Monster, and we'll get him in there. But he did a decent amount of damage to this champ. And this team is not weak per se, you know? I mean, it's three of the great legendaries in the game. This is his poison ability. He got a few resists there again because we have him in the low accuracy, but you can see he's still doing the majority of the damage for this team, able to come away with a victory. I'll do one more arena battle. I'll put him in a very, very friendly, free-to-play friendly team, and then we will switch the build and use him. Actually, you know what? I'll do both real quick. Alright guys, so a little bit more of a free-to-play friendly team here with Soulbound Bowyer. We have War Maiden, we have Kael, and we have Apothecary. I figured the non-speed lead should be fine against an HP lead, and I have my Apothecary built semi-fast, I think around 230 or so speed, and he does go first, which should be fine against this team. So now we have our debuff for War Maiden going next. She's going to go ahead and attack all enemies, put that decreased defense, and set the table very nicely here for Kael. So here it goes, Kael. The decreased defense has been applied to all 4 champions, and boom! 40 to 50k, not too bad. We'll go ahead and try to finish off Miscreated Monster here using the, just using the A1. Okay, so we finish off Frank. We have Varask and Martyr left. Martyr might pick somebody up, so we got to go ahead and finish her off here. And we do so, and that's going to be all she wrote there. So there it goes. Let's go ahead and move on to a quick campaign run, and then we will go to the defensive build. Where am I going? Here we go. Campaign, brutal, 12-3. Let's see what Kael can do here, guys. Leveling up those new champs, man. Feels good. All right, so let's see what Kael can do in this gear. He'll start out with Acid Rain, makes quick work of the first mob, and then again, we killed 4 champions, so he should already have it up. If not, let's see, yeah, one more turn away. So now we'll have Acid Rain again. We killed 2, 50% turn meter increase, and again, you can see, what is this gonna be, an 18-second run? It's a little bit slower than I thought, to be totally honest, guys. But again, keep in mind that I don't have him in the best gear on my account. So 22-second speed run. I know we can build Kael to be a faster speed runner. I've seen him get, 14 to 17-second range before. I'll be right back, guys, and we'll go ahead and look at the defensive build. So guys, I just want to go ahead and walk you through the changes that we're going to make here. We're going to go ahead and put an accuracy banner on Kael. That's the first thing that we should do here. So now, apologies for it being legendary, but you guys get the point. Accuracy on the banner. We're going to go with, instead of a crit damage, you can still go crit damage, but I like this defensive amulet I have a little bit better, right? I get crit damage still with a 1 roll, 10%. I get 18 accuracy, which is incredibly powerful, and I also get the defense, which is going to be paramount for clan boss survival. So I'm actually going to switch to a defensive amulet, but that is really kind of a coin toss. If you guys have a great like 5 or 6 star crit damage amulet, you can go with that. That's totally fine. Also have the option of going with defense with accuracy, which is the direction that we're going to go for this video. And then I would go with a defense based ring. So what do I have in terms of something leveled up? You can also go HP if you have a good HP ring. This one is not bad. This one is also not bad. I like to get some defense and some HP from the same ring, so we'll go with this one here, guys. I have it already leveled up, so we'll just switch that out. But you can already see his defense and his HP. His HP is very low, his base HP, so it does not scale as well as his defense, which is higher at 914 relatively to the stat. So I prefer to build Kael with more defense than HP, okay? Having a little bit more HP, though, is good, especially on your ring if you can get it from there, because it's a flat HP and it's a big HP boost, and it will prevent him from potentially being targeted by mobs inside dungeons. So here we go on to the chest. That's the next thing we're going to change here. We can stay with speed, that's fine. We want to get away from an attack-based and definitely move to a defense-based chest. So let's see if I have anything leveled up with some defense on it. Looks like we don't really here, so let's go ahead and filter and see what we have equipped. Again, it's not going to be a perfect video in terms of the gear. I'd probably take my time with this and really go through everything and make sure that I have the stats exactly where I need them to be. But if we looked at our equipped gear and we want to go with defense, let's see. Grave Chill Killer has a great defensive chest on her right now, so let's go ahead and steal that away from her, put it on Kael. And now, again, we're already looking much better here. Look at my defense up all the way to 2354. My accuracy is all the way at 210. And my attack is still all right. My crit rate is probably too high. And my crit damage is really solid still at 225. So now we can go ahead and keep the same speed boots on him. That's totally cool. I would want to level up my shield. So let's see if we have a better shield here. We don't even need the crit rate and the crit damage. So this should definitely be a switch here. So again, we're going to go and see what we have available for shields. Let's see, we have more speed, some HP there. All right, but let's see if I have anything else here. Again, I will see what I have equipped on my other characters. What I'm looking for here is a little bit more accuracy. Speed is good. But we're looking for the defensive stats here. We want that sustainability. We're aiming to get that defense at, as close to 3,000 or higher as possible here. So crit rate, accuracy, speed, it's a little bit better there on that shield option. We have speed, crit rate, accuracy, HP. I think I'm going to go with, I'm looking for defense. So I think I'm actually going to take this one. I want the extra, 16% defense, and we'll take that from Skull Crusher. So let's go ahead and put that on instead. That's going to boost our defense all the way up to 2601. We're moving in the right direction here, guys. And again, I'll still keep the crit rate high on this weapon, and then on the helmet. Again, my crit rate is a little bit overboard right now, to be totally honest. I can take these crit damage gauntlets off, Let's see if I have anything else here, guys. And again, these crit damage gauntlets, they can be changed, honestly, to you can stay with crit damage. That's totally fine if your Kael is not dying first in dungeons or in clan boss. If he's sustaining more than, you know, the rest of your team, go with crit damage. If he is dying first, this is the adjustments that you guys have to make on your account based on your champions, your artifacts, your gear, and the stage levels that you guys are attempting. So for me, I will just, for the sake of this video, keep him in. I think it's great if you want to keep him alive. Newsflash, obvious, Captain Obvious here. But just putting him in a defensive, and here we go. Let's use these instead. Defensive gauntlets. So I put him in speed. I broke the crit damage stat. That's not going to help us out a little bit here. So again, but 109, I still have the crit rate high, which is great. And I have his defense all the way at 3,000 almost. That's going to be perfect. And 228 accuracy is exactly where we need him. So a little bit light on the HP. He is not built out to be speed tuned. And again, the last change that I would make here, guys, is War Master. I'm not going to go ahead and pay the 150 gems just to change the War Master. That is dramatically going to change the amount of damage he's going to be able to put out against the clan boss. You know what? Screw it, I'll do it. Alright guys, I did it. I went down to War Master because that's going to change so much in terms of clan boss damage, and I do want to show you him in the clan boss. So again guys, we are not 100% optimized, but we've made some key changes. We've got his defense way higher. Again, we've got his HP I think a little bit higher, and then we took some hits on his crit damage, but we had his accuracy up there as well. This is a better build for dragons, for any dungeon basically, as well as for clan boss. So we'll go into dragons 20. Let me make a team here real quick, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, all I basically did was just subbed him and War Maiden in for Draco and Siphi. Let's go ahead and see how this team does here. We have Syl the Drakes there for support. We have War Maiden for debuffer. There goes the decreased defense. And then we're going to have Kael there for the Acid Rain. Now, Acid Rain isn't going to do nearly as much damage as we saw there in the arena, as we saw in, you know, the campaign as well. But the idea here is to get him to the dragon, where you guys probably know that poison is very, very good against the dragon. So we're taking a hit on the wave support from our Kael in terms of killing these minions, and we're gonna kind of cash that in when we get to the dragon. And overall, I think you guys will find that he'll be doing more damage. Your runs will be faster, more successful if you take that hit on the minions, providing you have a little bit of nukage capability on the rest of your team. In this case, you can see I do have plenty of nukage here with War Maiden, with Royal Guard, with Cold Heart alongside my Kael. So now when he gets to the dragon, he's going to be applying the Disintegrate. We landed 2 poisons there. We have the decreased defense from War Maiden, and now he's going to, on his A1, he has a small version of poison. On his A3, of course, the big version of poison. So we actually lose Cold Heart. That's fine. Syl the Drakes will pick her back up. There she goes, and we are looking pretty good. Now, Kael is poisoned here, but there goes the takedown. The dragon's going to be done way before we take a hit there. And you know what? I think Apothecary would be great on this team as well. Maybe even you could really sub an Apothecary for pretty much anybody, because we could use the heals on this team. You can see things are going to be fine, but the overall HP of the team is pretty low. I have not run this team before this video, but there you can see. And again, Kael did the most damage out of anybody on the team with almost 1 million damage. So way to go, Kael, there. And that was mostly due to poison damage against the actual dragon. I think that's what ended up killing the dragon in this scenario. So that would be a good example of more, you know, if we had him in the old build, there's no way he would have survived. The dragon would have killed him really, really quickly, and he wouldn't have been landing those poisons. So let's go ahead and show clan boss here, guys. We'll go ahead and show, I have my team for, I'm doing around 50 million 1 key in Ultra Nightmare, but I have that as an unkillable team. So let's go ahead and move him. And look we have Ketek Turbang here using Kael on his or her clan boss team as well. So let's go ahead and use mine. Be right back. Let me make a team. Alright guys, so we're going to do Brutal with this all-rare team. Kind of a fun team, right? We have Banshee. It's like a poison, a super poison team with Grave Chill, Banshee, Painkeeper, Apothecary, and Kael. Let's see how it goes, guys. I haven't run a team like this before. I'm just going to put it on auto and kind of see what happens. But we have some heals there and support from Painkeeper and from Apothecary. And then we have the nice synergy between, you know, the Kael, the Banshee, and the Grave Chill. So there's going to be a lot of poisons on this team. We don't have any sort of speed tuning or anything like like that. You want to make sure you take a look at the masteries if you do want to build your Kael for a speed tuning comp. You don't want any of those masteries that we talked about on this video that pertain to turn meter. You want to be avoiding that turn meter manipulation if you do have him on a speed tuned comp. So guys, you can see already no worries with that poison, and every poison tick is doing the extra damage because of Frozen Banshee's poison sensitivity. So this is going to be a really solid team. The question is can they survive long enough, right? I mean, how long are they going to be able to last? And guys, we'll stay tuned and find out. I'm going to go ahead and cut here because you don't need to see this. It gets a little bit monotonous, but you can see the idea here is just a really solid, only rare team. Granted, one void rare in Painkeeper, but it's a really solid rare team. I have the support, I have the speed, and I have a lot of poisons with the poison sensitivity. I'll be right back and show you how we do. Alright, so not too bad for an all-rare squad here, guys. Kael with 3.8 million, around the same as Grave Chill Killer, and then Frozen Banshee really takes the cake on this one. Granted, she does have two strong versions of poison, 2 poisons placed on her A1, plus that poison sensitivity. So there is the team, guys. I hope this has given you kind of a template, a blueprint to build a Kael. And as I said, feel free to run a hybrid Kael. Feel free to, if your Kael is, if you want to build him for more nukage, you want to take advantage of the acid rain, but he's still dying, maybe you're pushing him on harder stages in the campaign, go ahead and put that defensive chest on him. It won't make that big of a difference in terms of his overall damage output as long as your crit damage is still your priority. So consider putting defense chest on him again, or even in the arena if you can, like we talked about, put those attack percentage boots on him, go for it, or put that accuracy banner on him if you want to rely on your poisons. The choice is yours. These are just kind of my words of advice on different builds, kind of to the extreme polar ends of the ways to use Kael as a champion. Either way, he's my favorite of the 4 starting champions, and I hope this guide has helped a few of you guys out. If you enjoyed the content here, I invite you to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.